Welcome back to another Akashic update. My name is Laura Mazzotta, and I am a holistic therapist of 20 years, an Akashic Records expert, and the author of Holistic Mental Health. And I put these Akashic updates together every couple weeks with upgraded downloads and integrations of the spiritual energy, whatever you want to call it, whether you call it the Akashic Records or Reiki or Theta Healing or Spirit, bringing the energy from the universe into the human and allowing ourselves to more easily integrate this energy into our day-to-day lives. It can be really challenging to navigate being a human, or I should say being a soul in human form, and figuring out, how do I interact with other people from a space of divine love? Really what we're doing is we're shifting into the state of 5D consciousness, and that is seeing the world through the eyes of divine love, and really casting judgment to the side because it's just truly not even relevant or necessary in other dimensions, and coming together from a place that is more collaborative and more trusting of what's unfolding on this planet. So I always come forward with a handful of topics that have come up through my own work, through work with my clients, and interactions with my loved ones as well. And I bring the most potent feedback or takeaways that has come up over the last couple of weeks to help you integrate in your own life. So I always love to hear from you. I love it when you comment below, shoot me an email, let me know how this is feeling for you. And obviously, if you need support, reach out. I do vibrational assessments for 15 to 20 minutes. It's $50 as a starter session. It's one-to-one with me. And we can talk about what's coming up for you, where you are, how this energy is integrating, and I can support you in next steps. So today we're talking about the concept of sovereignty and how it's necessary to grieve before we move fully into sovereignty, expanding your capacity to hold love or to hold freedom, even joy, really any energy that you desire to embody, being with your emotions to access the 5D rather than understanding them, grounding in the spiritual realms rather than grounding on the earth plane, and the fact that you're meant to feel lonely right now. So we're going to start with this concept of sovereignty. So when we really want to exist in a fairly detached way from other people, from our emotions to a degree, from situations and chaos and the noise that goes on in this world, we really want to be able to hold ourselves in a place of centered groundedness and clarity around who we are, what we're here for, and in general, where we're headed. And what I find is that there's a lot of talk out there about, well, you're not moving to your next level because you're afraid. You're not moving to your next level because you're waiting for something else to show up before you move there. That can definitely be part of the picture for sure. But one thing that isn't discussed a lot of the time is that before we're able to access this next level of sovereignty, we're truly meant to at least acknowledge the grief that naturally comes forward in our subconscious minds, even if it's not conscious, of releasing previous parts of ourselves that may have held a role at a previous level of ourselves. So even if this is a very brief process and all you need to do is acknowledge, oh yeah, like I'm leaving that behind me, and then you move forward, that might be as all you need, because you may have been processing this, and you have been at an energetic level, of course, for a while before you get to that point where you're ready to take your next step into who you are and really owning who you are. But there can also be a bigger grief process around, especially if it's more of like a quantum leap into sovereignty, where it's like, oh, wow, like this is what I've always known. This is what I've always understood in terms of who I am, in terms of how I operate, in terms of my relationships or how I interact in the world, right? And it can feel a little unsettling to the nervous system and feel a little unsettling to your ego, because you've had this constructed mindset around who you are and how you operate. So that can feel like we're getting tugged and like there's resistance, right? And that's not resistance saying, oh, you're not going in the right direction. It is just a tension that's being felt within your body and within your mind that's indicative of something breaking away and something falling away. And we want to allow space for that process to just unfold, give space to the energy, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to feel angry, to feel guilty, to feel nervous. You may even feel nervous around it. And just know that none of that means anything. It's just energy that's moving through your field. And we're going to talk about that a little more when we get into talking about being with your emotions to access 5D consciousness. Okay? So it's really honoring a previous version of yourself and giving that version of yourself or that part of yourself space to integrate its story with where it's going, because it's really what's happening. And sometimes it needs a little time to do that. And there's no clear timeline. You just want to let it unfold as it may. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is this concept of expanding your capacity to hold anything, a frequency that you desire to embody. So when I was doing this practice, it was to hold love. I've also done this practice to hold intimacy, to hold freedom. And the first thing I'll say is that we don't have to hold anything. We don't have to hold any energy. In fact, the energy is not ours. It belongs to the universe, and it's simply passing through us. We are vessels just transmuting it and kind of spitting it out in a different form so that it spreads to the people who are meant to hear that and engage with our soul's path. Okay. So you don't have to hold anything necessarily, but it can feel like you're holding it temporarily as it's moving through you. And sometimes there are these big shots, like this huge feeling of love. That's just like this huge rush. And it's like, oh my goodness, like I need to gush. I'm going to feel like I'm going to explode. Right. And sometimes with the freedom, it can not feel safe and not feel anchored. And so it feels like a lot of energy that's being handed to you in one moment. And we think that it's about things on the earth plane. And this is where codependency can come in, where it's like, no, I need you to, I'm feeling so much love and you're not giving it back to me. And I need to know that my love is anchored in you because I don't know what else to do with it. Right. But it's nobody else's responsibility to give you feedback on what you're sharing. And it's nobody else's responsibility to hold your love. So when we're looking at expanding our capacity, because we want to hold more and more energy, we have infinite capacity to hold energy, but this is the other piece that's important to know. We don't have to. We get choice on that. So you don't have to hold all of the energy that's offered to you or allow all of that to pass through you. You can choose to filter that based on how you're feeling at the time, based on what you feel you're available for. And just because you can hold all the energy doesn't mean you have to. That's really the bottom line that I want to share with you. Okay. You have choice in that matter. And so what I want you to do to expand your capacity to hold energy so that the vibes that you do want to hold keep coming to you and you have more ability to expand into it is start by the simplest practice ever, which is just when you feel that emotion that you desire, like joy, love, freedom, intimacy, what have you. Notice it. Part of this is just awareness. Like I notice that I'm feeling that way right now. And instead of just moving past it and doing the next thing or just being like, having a smile on your face, pause. Just give yourself an extra few moments to sit in it. You may close your eyes. You may look out the window. You may go into a meditation to expand it in your energy. But just intentionally hold that vibration for a few seconds longer. You can even do it for a minute longer, 2 minutes longer, 5 minutes longer. And now you're extending in your day the amount of time that you're feeling that. And you're giving the universe the message, this is what I desire. This is what I desire to hold and hold on to. Because so much of the time, our egos latch onto negative beliefs or emotions that we identify as negative, even though there's no negative emotions. It's all just judgment, right? So it's just I desire to hold more energy because I can, and because I desire to be an anchor for myself and others on this planet and feel so much more easeful and unrocked by the chaos going on around me. And so I think here what you're doing is you're defaulting to, I'm a vessel of service, and what is meant to be expressed through me? What is the energy that's meant to be moving through me right now? And you just allow that to move. And then when you notice that vibration that feels like, oh, yes, this is what I'm looking for. Yes. Just pause and hold it. That is more loving than anything in the world. I don't care if you're in an amusement park on a roller coaster. I don't care if you're at the grocery store. Pause and hold. Okay, so that's just the start of this. We did a deeper practice with this in my vitality program, which was amazing. We included some qigong with it and some breath and some tapping. But there's lots of ways to practice expanding your capacity, but that's one that feels really simple and tangible to implement. So next, we're talking about being with your emotions to access the 5D rather than understanding them. So when we talk about 5D consciousness, this is the theme of my retreat this year, actually. We are leaving in a week at the time of this recording, so I'm so excited. But 5D consciousness is really being able to embody and see the world through the eyes of divine love. And that's a practice as humans. That is a practice. And what happens is, to get to the 5D, there's kind of a canopy of consciousness that exists over top of our human 3D physical form that we need to kind of move through to get to the 5D. And that canopy is 4D consciousness, which is our emotions. So we are really meant to be able to witness and experience our emotions, like I was talking about earlier, just as energy moving through us, and witnessing them, not placing judgment, and just allowing this energy to move through us. And more importantly, deeply accepting the entire spectrum that moves through. You know, I was in a Voxer chat with a couple of my friends, and it's mildly hilarious to listen to this Voxer chat, because we'll just come in and we'll just be like, oh my gosh, I'm celebrating all the things. And what if this happened? What if that happened? It'd be so fun. And, you know, talking about all the things. And then the next message is like, oh my God, you know, and we're just like sobbing. And then the next message is like, but oh my gosh, I am kicking ass at this. And it's so beautiful to be able to witness that all of it is awesome. All of it is gorgeous. All of it is a gift from Source. And who are we to say to Source, no thanks for the gift of energy that you're handing me? Because God always gives, God, Source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, us a platter of unconditional love at all times. It's being handed to us at all times. It's in our energy field at all times. And it's really about our openness and awareness to receive that and accept that, rather than pushing it away, because that's energy that I don't like. But that's an egoic judgment, right? Instead, it's thank you, thank you. It's being in this state of persistent gratitude around, oh, I so appreciate that there's energy showing up to remind me that we're always moving, that we're always progressing, that we're always changing, that nothing is stagnant, nothing is stuck, nothing is permanent. And that I get to witness and be part of this gorgeous unfolding on earth. That's amazing. It's so beautiful. And when we get to acceptance of that, we get to transcend any feelings of stuckness in the 3D, and we get to heighten our consciousness to a higher dimension, which really allows us to operate with much less of this and more of this in the human. Acceptance leads to transcendence. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is this concept of grounding. And grounding is something that we typically understand as go outside and put your feet on the ground, have a snack, sit on a grounding mat, hold a dark colored crystal, hold your hand in a certain mudra position, point your fingers down, access your root chakra, things like that. But what I have found very, very strongly in the past month or 4 to 6 weeks, maybe even longer than that, I kept getting guided by the Akashic records to ground in the Akash. And it became very, very clear to me. And since I've been practicing this practice, man, has it changed my energy. I mean, it is like a constant anchor for me. It is wild how much has shifted me. It's this concept that when you consider yourself a starseed, which is somebody who has understood that they're coming to this planet to spread light, to spread love, to raise the consciousness of the planet, to really be that embodiment of divine love to reflect to others so that this planet can be more harmonious. Either way, all of us originate as a soul. Okay, our origins are in the spiritual realms. And so there's a lot of people, particularly those in the spiritual path, who are just entering and not really sure what's going on, that are feeling disconnected from their bodies. And then they're trying to ground on earth and it's just not working. And then they feel lost and they feel frustrated. And they're like, what is happening? Like, I cannot anchor. It's because you feel safer and more at home and more grounded in the spiritual realms than you do on the human plane. And so grounding in the spiritual is going to feel safer. It's going to feel more grounding and more at home than grounding on earth. So test it out, try it. You know, for me, I'm grounding into the Akash now. I'll get a little anxious or my energy won't be able to settle. And so I just shift into, you know, I'll say, I need to ground. Instead of going outside now I go up. And I connect to the Akash, and it's this remembrance of your soul, of your origin point, of your spiritual community, of your soul family. And there's a sense of sustainable, infinite belonging there that you'll never be able to find on earth. So there's a sustainability in this grounding, and man, is it a game changer. So I really wanted to share that with you. And then lastly, you're meant to feel lonely right now. This is something that's been coming up over the past 3 to 4 months, not only with me, but with almost everybody I know. This feeling of loneliness has been coming up. And, you know, I always find that when we look for a solution outside of ourselves on this planet, and we keep coming up against blocks all the way around, it's like, okay, universe, what are you trying to tell me? Like, I'm looking to fulfill through this relationship, through that relationship, through even doing some spiritual practices, right? Or some healing tools or some energy techniques. Nope. Ultimately, it's about you're meant to sit with yourself and feel lonely, right? And we default to trying to fill this void within us through external tasks and other people, but it's just not reliable and it's not a sustainable centeredness, okay? What we really want to do is find that fulfillment within ourselves, right? And seek that connection with ourselves from a place of just because you love yourself and just because you desire self-intimacy. And when you do this and you really anchor in you, those relationships outside of you are going to feel lighter because there's no pressure on them to provide anything for you. And you get to connect with these people from a place of joy and expansion and excitement and just fun rather than need. You don't need anything from them. You just desire to spend time with them because it's fulfilling and it's fun. And we're here to play, right? And the fact is, other people don't have the capacity to hold your energy necessarily unless they choose to. Okay. And that's up to them. And so instead of faulting them or feeling sorry for yourself because of that situation or feeling cast aside or feeling lonely, it's more asking yourself, where are you being called to hold more of your own energy? These situations are always a reflection for greater self-love and growth and understanding. Okay. And even if you feel like a rock star in the self-love arena, which I do, I consider myself a rock star in the self-love arena. There's always room to deepen. We're working with the infinite. There's always room to deepen. So the stuff comes up, and like for me, this will come up and I'll be like, I've already surrendered like a rock star. I already love myself to the ends of the earth, right? There's always room to deepen. Because once again, me saying that, I already do that. That's an ego response. right? That's an ego. I'm already there. We're never already there, right? And that's not from a place of you're not good enough and you'll never get there. It's a place of curiosity and excitement about, I get to continue exploring. I get to continue to use my time on this earth to just find more pockets of magic and activate them and enjoy them and appreciate them and feel them with my senses, right? So allow this invitation, if it's coming up for you, to put your ego aside and just sink deeper into a yumminess that you probably didn't even know is there and that you have access to and that you're ready for right now. Obviously, if you're feeling at a level of loneliness that makes you feel really unsafe, seek support, speak to somebody. But this is really it's for your own integration. And again, this is all energy that's being handed to us for our highest and best. So thank you for listening. Again, I would love your reflections. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you get other updates when I upload tapping videos. I have a tapping playlist with over 50 videos. When I upload more Akashic updates, and reach out if you need support, if you desire to just connect one-on-one and get my reflections or the Akashic reflections on your soul's purpose, on where you are right now, on next steps, on everything that's coming up in the human sauce. I am here for you. That link is in the description. And I would love to meet more and more people who desire to connect with this energy so that we can learn how the infinite expresses uniquely through each one of us. Thank you so much. Have a good day.